Alrighty. And here we are with an old friend, Josh, also a new friend because this is the first time I've ever seen him. And he has Hoenn cards today for show and tell. This is show and tell.
Show and tell.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? What's new?
Good. What's new? Started working on the edit for the second documentary. That's the one with Eshwar and Chris and Kogan and Barina and Mark. So working
hmm
on the first segments of that, getting started. What else? Using a couple editors for my channel, just different people trying them out. Yeah, having some fun with that. So yeah, man. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
In
How about you?
progress.
Right, right.
Well, the newest thing has been these Cohen cards. Just putting those together. It's been an interesting, kind of fun, unique process. And
Hmm.
then once they arrived, it was just go time. I had a
How'd you
bunch
come up
of
with the idea for them?
here, I'll show you.
Okay.
Um, this is what they all looked like at one point, just
Hmm.
masses of this. So, in the midst of sessions, somebody would say something or an insight would arise. I don't know how to really describe how that works because it doesn't feel much like there's a plan or anyone really doing it, but there's just writing down things. And then for a while, I had those on note cards, and in session, every once in a while, I'd have them in hand, and somebody would say something, and the answer to a question or whatever they said was perfectly on the card. So I'd hold up the
Hmm.
note card, and they'd be like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" And I'd be like, "I didn't." Just holding cards and just. So anyway, somebody suggested that I put them in a card format, and so I had made kind of like a prototype deck, and for a while was doing like a Wednesday live, and people would ask questions, and then after asking a question, I'd pull a Cohen card for them, and it kind of took off. And then when people are like, "Oh, I want to buy those," when are those available? And so it was like a matter of figuring out how to put all that together because doing a custom card deck is not as easy as one might think.
I'll bet. Yeah.
So took a little bit of time to do that and just put the numbers together. So it wasn't really an intention to make a lot of money on this. It was just to provide a simple tool for people to use. And on the back at here, I know we're recording, but let me grab a box so you can kind of see.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, just put some basic instructions on the back of the box. Some you can pull them in the morning. It basically says, or you can give them away, give them to friends, put them on the
Nice.
pin them to the bulletin board at your favorite coffee shop.
Hmm.
And
What's the box
there's an
look
air,
like? Sweet.
and then there's
Nice.
instructions on the back.
Very cool.
So there's all actually already a version 2. There's a ton of these notes. And Avalon was kind enough to type them into an Excel spreadsheet to make it easier.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice.
So there will be like different versions, but each version, you and I had spoken about it. We were interested in doing chase cards. So,
Woo!
um,
Nice.
so I did one deck of those. So there's only one of one for each deck for the first 72 decks
So you
of
have a rare
cards.
card in your deck.
Basically, a one of a kind, never to be made again card
Ooh, that's
for
cool.
each of them. So
Sweet.
I'm gonna get open this packaging because it tastes so delicious.
So are these all questions, or are they some of them questions, some are statements, or how's it work?
It's pretty random. Some of them are questions, some of them are like actual Cohen's.
Hmm.
It's just at random. So here's one. It's like an inquiry assistant,
Okay, let's do it. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I?
and that's a good one. You bring that one up actually quite a bit.
Mm.
Seeing you do
Mhm.
that in retreat, it's a good one.
The funny, if I ask the question, where am I? Um, it's funny because it feels like it kind of feels like nowhere is asking the question of everywhere in a way. Like I can't even tell where the question is directed from and toward. And that becomes immediately interesting energetically right now. It just reflects through infinity.
They kind of meet themselves, don't they? It's
Mhm.
weird. It's a neutralization of
Mhm.
where, how, where compared to what.
Yeah.
Just like
I mean, I
even the
actually I like these questions because people might be like, well, you don't need to do inquiry. It's like, well, I don't, but it's still, they're fascinating things because they're like catalysts for the mind in a way. Um, very, and very simple things, very simple ones. I mean, some things are so simple, they're not even words, like a flower, but the words can also trigger a kind of echo, some kind of echo into, who knows, like it could be an archetype, or it could be a kind of indescribable experience, which in one sense all experience is indescribable, but it also has infinite variations and flavors and shades too. And
so
so
good.
combinations of words are like kaleidoscopes of reality. You've seen Doctor Strange where like the buildings are rearranging shapes and stuff. Like
Yeah,
reality
yeah.
is actually rearranging itself like that. And you can just feel it. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, the word presence is so juicy for this. Because if you take etymology, there's always clues in words actually a little bit. And if you break
Mhm.
that word, it's pre-sensed. Something that's already here before you even noticed it, and it's sensed. That's that simple. So simple. Even a caveman could do it.
Exactly.
Uh, and then there's variations. I don't know. I have no clue where these came from. They just wrote themselves down. So it's another
What
moo
color is
question.
moo? Beautiful. All right,
Um,
here's one for you. Okay, so go the fourth card down and answer it.
okay. One, two, three, four. What is an emotion before thought? Oof. I mean, you could justify a sensation, but even if you kind of keep diving in, it becomes extremely indeterminable. Just kind of like what you said, it's a kaleidoscope of oftentimes what can be called a sensation really overlaps with sound in the visual field too. So there's no sense of even it being inside or outside. That's what's. I mean, see, even then, I can't be certain about that. But
Mhm.
that's what's coming up right now.
Yeah,
A a maybe a something, but not determinable what.
yeah. What strikes me about this is what is funny is like a analogy of the way these things seem to function is like it's not so you could think that an emotion or a thought is are there things or even concepts, and then
Objects.
that's how you approach this, or objects, but that's not really how it is. It's more like, in one sense, by utilizing those questions, they're almost like, if you ever shoot a pistol or something, like the gun sights, like one sight has to line up with the other somehow. It's like if you line those up, then what it lines up into, it's like catalytic, and it's a portal. They're
That's it.
portals, actually. They're portals. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Wow, there's so much actually there. Uh, during your last retreat, some of the it was popping. By the way, a lot of just good energy going on. An insight that kind of came up was around the gap or the space between thoughts or the space between experience. That's
Hmm.
what everything actually is without an arbitrary limit or an arbitrary platform of an object determined by thought. So like I woke up this morning, that's an object. But what's the gap? And if people, as they age, something that came to be really clear is they have a sense that, or this is what they report, time seems to move really quickly, or time has flown by, the last 20 years just were a blink, which makes sense because if we retrieve memory, it's just a series of objects without the gap. And that's going to seem like a really quick kind of chunk of experience because the gap seems to only be experienced right here, right now. It's like thoughts can't feel also. And
Hmm.
so to remember a sensation is actually to feel the sensation now. We cannot remember an emotion or a feeling at all without experiencing it now.
Yeah.
It's the gap. And so without these arbitrary objects being kind of like compared from point A to point B, all these like artificial roadmaps, it's just a wide, indeterminable this is
Hmm.
how it seems. And that was one of the things came up. I'm not sure exactly what you had said, but it was so juicy because I had the retreat right here on another laptop and I was doing sessions. And every chance I had the opportunity, I would like kind of tap in and be in retreat as much as possible. and you had said something about like the space between or the gaps or something, and it was like a sudden like, oh, words can be put to this to point, even though it can't be the moon itself. It's like it's all these arbitrary objects
Mm.
in the space, but really it's all just space. It's just we're just determining, oh, this means this. It's like a an interpretation or an assumption, and that's
Mhm.
it. But what's prior to that? What's always like instantaneously, suddenly right here? That's where
Yeah,
that kind of came up. Yeah,
beautiful.
I don't know. I don't. I have no idea.
So
So
yeah, as we mentioned, so I think I want to give away 10 packs of these. So they'll be purchased by Simply Always Awake, and we'll give them away to people who should we have them answer questions, trivia questions,
yeah,
questions
that
about
seems
anything. All right. So we can just come up with them. So we'll come up with the questions. I'll put them on a I'll put them on a Google form, and then first 10 people who answer the questions correctly, you get a free box of call on cards. Hot
it's
off the
cool.
press.
And what's great about it is you'll get there's still enough of these chase cards left. You will get one of these too.
Sweet. Okay, that's awesome. Let me write these down so I don't forget.
The um the quality turned out really nice, by the way, if you are tactile. They're
So
like a
yeah, I was gonna
linen kind of
say
base.
must be a lot of choosing as far as like type of material you want to use, things like that.
Finish,
Samples.
material. And then it was most important to kind of make sure the graphic lined up. The
Mhm.
first ones had a border that kind of got cut off weird. So instead of doing a border, I just did this kind of I don't know, sunray kind of thing.
That's
And
cool. Yeah,
it actually really looks cool when they're all put together. It has that kind of illusory eye
sweet.
effect. Zzz.
That's pretty
Um,
badass.
that and it's like they have a nice smell. It's just very sensational cards. But this is the closest Josh character has ever come to a book.
Love it. Okay, here we go. What's Josh's dog's name? Do you think anyone knows that? Do you ever talk about your dog on? They know probably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. What's the next question?
Oh, we're gonna create questions. Okay.
Yep. There's gonna
Um.
be 10. I'm gonna put 10 on here.
Oh.
And
Uh.
maybe I'll just pick I'll randomly pick 10 people who answer all the questions. That's all I'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, keep it all random. You know,
Mhm.
like drawing the names out of hats. Um. All right. This one's good. I'm gonna go another dog one. What What is the name of Angelo Violet's friend dog that is not a Basenji?
Hmm.
That's a good one.
I like it. Okay.
It might be a little more challenging.
Yep. So so let's see what how I say this. Josh lives in A, the savannah, B, permafrost, C, the desert, D, the mountains. All right, that's the third question.
Uh, oh, this is good. Are we keeping a constraints in terms of
Whatever you want.
between you and I?
Yeah. Oh no, it can be whatever.
Okay, I got one. Um, what does TRE stand for?
I like it. Okay, what does it mean? So this is a millennial, not a millennial, Gen Z question. What does it mean to rizz up?
Oh man, the Avalon and Aiden all day long talking about being the Rizzler.
They're they're low key doing that.
They're low key, no cap rizzing, and he's like, "I'm straight Sigma, if but you're straight up Ohio." And I was like, "Really? You better
Oh
watch your yacht."
wow.
I said, "For real, fam, for
For real
real."
fam. Okay, we got five more.
All right, let me see. Oh, in Angelo's documentary, who is the third person to appear on screen?
I like it. Okay. Um, what kind of meditation did Angelo learn first in his life
Ooh, that's a good one.
when he was 19 years old? Three more questions.
According to legend, what type of t-shirt was Angelo wearing when Josh first met him?
That's funny. Okay. During the pandemic, Josh met Angelo at a roadside bar, I think, in the middle of the day and ran up to him and handed him a jar of what? And then took off.
Oh
This really
yeah.
happened. This really happened.
There actually was an exchange.
There was an exchange. It's true.
There was a painting involved also.
There was. I gave Josh a painting, but he handed me a jar of something. It's not what you think. Don't get dirty.
It was for Avalon's birthday. Actually, she still has it in her room.
The painting, yeah.
And it has a little dedication on the back too. It was really well done. Like
I'm
legit
trying to
artist.
remember. I remember what was in the jar, but I don't remember the variety of it. Oh, okay, I remember now.
Wait, we should ask questions that we don't know the answer to also.
Okay. Let's do it.
Like, what's the final digit of pi?
The final digit of pi. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Someone comes up with that, I'm gonna be really impressed. Sweet. Yeah, I'll just put this on a form under the video and have the people fill it out. We'll pick 10 random people and we'll send these cards to your house free of charge. And you'll get a one of one original holographic chaser card.
That was an Angelo suggestion. It was actually a great suggestion, by the way. Because so far I've gotten some messages, people that have received theirs, and they're like, "What's this?"
Well, I
That's
remember back in the day there was like different baseball cards and sports cards and Magic the Gathering cards, and there'd be these like rare ones in there, and occasionally you get some really cool rare one or whatever. So
yeah,
kind of fun.
that's it. This is
Yep.
a one of one, so
Nice.
it's the rarest you can get.
Sweet. And so you said the second edition is already in the works?
Yeah, it's just gonna be a different kind of color, maybe a different image on the back.
Cool.
There are just so many of these. I don't know. There has been a tiny bit of editing because some of them are somewhat repetitious, but
Mhm.
most of them are legit coins. Like here's one that I will probably insert. What is the last thought that you have forgotten?
Hmm.
That's a good way to create a gap.
Mhm. Anytime there's a question like that about thoughts, it's like it's so fascinating how quiet the mind actually can get.
Mm.
It's like that primordial quiet.
It's really amazing to watch. I've asked this question a few times lately, and it is amazing to watch that first big gap that people are going, wait, there's nothing.
Mhm.
They go,
Yeah.
yeah.
One question I really like, if it hits, I think it has to time right. But if it really hits, if somebody really gets where it's pointing, is a really powerful one. And it is, um, what do you know right now for certain without thought?
Oh my God. It brings up, there's a feeling of laughter when just hearing that. It's like, uh, it's like tragic comic right
Mm,
there.
hmm
That's a good one.
Magic
Oh,
comic.
you know what? We should do like a or just start busting some out, and I'll do like an Angelo deck for you. Make
You
it
got it,
really
man.
easy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I like the all is perfectly managed in the unborn.
Mm,
Some of these are just suggestions like that. Some of them are questions,
hmm
like something's really simple. This one says, "What wow is here?" It's just pointing to
mm,
curiosity and fascination.
yeah.
And for a lot of people, what I found is there's a sense of taking things seriously to the point where they lose perceptive touch with innocence. And
Mhm.
sometimes just stepping into a sense of wow, they start to giggle, even though their life seems to be a shambles according to their thoughts. They start to go,
Yeah.
huh, oh, there's like bubbles and you know, and it's just like that right there, just that.
So simple. Yeah.
Such a beautiful breadcrumb though. Like you always have that. You can't ever be away from that.
Mhm.
It's what a gift that you have access to always.
Mhm. It's like the child in the bathtub with the little toy boat. Bloop, 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 bloop. Like there's nothing but the bath. There's nothing but the foam and the boat and the
That's
sounds,
it.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, I remember once I started getting into acting, the at that point in time, the suspension of disbelief. You know, remember when you would get sucked into movies?
Mhm.
Like the only thing that existed was the movie.
Yeah.
It had killed it for me because I had gone into the analysis of
Mhm.
like, oh, look at that directing choice, and oh, what a great acting choice. And it took so long to return to just being sucked into a movie. But the
Mhm.
first time that had reemerged, it was like such a gift, like nothing else existed but
Mm.
the movie, you know?
Yeah. Mhm. I
Felt
know
like
exactly
being
what
5 years old again, you know?
you mean. Mhm.
I actually
It's
had
like
that when we watched Revolver at your house.
mm,
That one time, it was just like,
mm. We
and it
watched
was
that when we were
interesting.
doing when we were doing the premiere night for the documentary. Is that right?
It was either that or during the filming. I don't
Mm.
one of the two. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do
Oh, it was. It was
remember
during the filming. Yeah, that's right.
I do remember feeling sensations that were like corresponding to what the characters were feeling, and it was just
Mhm.
so viscerally like engaged. It was
Mhm.
kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where is right here, right now, where is attention not?
Right.
I love watching that because then people go, well, it's not with my arm. I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, oh, wait. As soon as you know, then
Yeah.
it's definitely there, you
I
know?
like I like where does inside meet outside,
Oh, that's a good one.
right? Because
That's
the moment you posit an inside, it's like, okay, and then you if there's an inside, well, there must be an outside, right? Well, where do they
right.
meet? And it's like, wait, they kind of collapse all of a sudden when you look for where they meet, you know? Like, do they meet like two objects meeting? Do they meet like two sides of a card? Or do they meet like two sides of a card with no dimension at all? And then which side are you on? Like, can you be on both sides at once? Can you be on every side at once?
For people that feel stuck, something that's been discovered is one place to play is boundaries, just like what you're speaking to.
Hmm.
Um, inside, outside, location in the body, go to where the sensation is, where it's not. Are you certain? Keep examining, and then before they know it, like the whatever that little constraint machine is, kind of slows down, shuts off
Hmm.
a little bit, and they're like, I nah,
Yeah.
it's and it's like, okay, right there's the gap. That's it.
Hmm.
And you can tune attention. It feels like agency at first, and
Hmm.
then it becomes effortless to
Hmm.
have attention constantly with that gap. And then we get to play in the relative or whatever you want to call it, this game of life, and there's no consequence
Hmm.
because attention is always with the gap. It seems
Beautiful.
like a
Yeah.
multifocal experience, you know?
Hmm. Yep. Exactly.
How
Yeah.
can how can I have 100% attention in more than one place simultaneously? And I go, is it just two? Is it three? Keep
Yeah.
going. And then the suddenly like, holy shit, like there's no walls in the house. And I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
You know, and the payoff for doing this, Angelo, and once again, I appreciate you so much for inviting, is to watch the moment of that innocence like arise. Like you can see the face change, the eyes light, and there's like a just a gentleness that comes from every human being in the midst
Hmm.
of just having that type of insight in the moment. It's really beautiful. It's
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking and beautiful. So somehow.
Yeah. It's still, I think, the sort of textures of experience, which just kind of are so varied and anymore and deep, but still the kind of going through that awakening with somebody is still like probably the coolest thing. It's just so fascinating. It's like it happens all over again. The whole universe wakes up again, and there's no one in that. It's like, or everyone's in that. It's just so amazing. And it just keeps happening. It's such a cool experience. to be any
It's
part of it or any or even remotely involved in it. Yeah.
it's like falling in love or
Mhm.
something. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's like that vicarious feeling when you see a young kid have their first bite of like chocolate cake and you
Yeah.
just see them just like completely overthrown in it and you're somehow experiencing it with them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like that kills any sense of separation, these kinds
Mhm.
of things. Like how could it be any isolation in that?
Yeah.
Where's the container? You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
the people have this. So something else that's come up recently that's kind of juicy is the word attention. And I think you brought that up a few times in retreat too. Is more than awareness, more than consciousness. There's an intimacy to the experience of attention, and it's the same. But it's that intimacy really that seems to take us home.
Mhm.
It's the type of consciousness that feels like really close.
Yeah.
I think some people objectify consciousness out here or
Mhm.
awareness out here, like there's an out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something about attention itself, they're like right into it.
Mhm.
I wish I could share a video. He asked me not to share, but there was a particular guy. I don't know. You know how it is. We don't know what
Mhm.
we say,
Yeah.
exactly how we say it, but it's like it hits right. And he just had this moment. And I'm like, oh, I want to really share this. And he's like, I'm not ready for that. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. It went on for like 30 minutes. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, no, it can't be that simple. And I'm like, yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard one to convey, especially if somebody's had more of that expansive experience, even an awakening that's expansive in nature or a transcendent experience, transcendent insight that's very, very real. But it's like that doesn't hold a candle to when that's experienced as the sensations. Like when it's an intimate penetration that's just as empty, but it's also radically full. And it's so enough. It's like every poem has been written about this, or every poem has tried to write itself about this. It's just here, like beckoning all the time, beckoning people, beckoning everyone to just come home, 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 home. Yeah. And it has infinite varieties. That's the other thing that's so beautiful. It's like there's nothing to hold on to. You don't have to hold on. You don't have to fixate. You don't have to hold a position because even as it endlessly shifts and changes and morphs and so forth, fluctuates. Um, it's just more of it, more splendor, more amazement, more depth, more intimacy.
It's like falling through every floor of an infinitely tall hotel. Oh
It's like a
man.
cosmic bounce. It's like a cosmic bounce house, and except God's the one that took the acid.
That's a punchline right there to the aristocrats joke.
It is for sure.
Oh, I really appreciate this, Angelo. It's so
Yeah,
nice
man.
to just have a venue to share, and it's so good. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. And
my pleasure. I'm really glad that these are out and excited to get them into people's hands. And you know, I really, I put out a shit ton of content. Like I have all kinds of videos. I do all this stuff. I talk about things in lots of different ways. And there's a reason for that because the mind can fixate on one way of seeing the world and one view and one spiritual process. And like it's just a thing that happens with the mind and it can be sort of fixating in nature. But I also try to emphasize, and it's totally true that like where insight really happens is in absolute simplicity. It's one question asked the right way at the right time with enough maybe desperation, with enough surrender, with enough really willingness to go beyond yourself. That's it. Go beyond the limits of what you think you are. You just at some point have to be willing to do that. And any question, I don't know about any question, but it just takes one question, one deeply contemplated statement, one turning word. And so that's what I like about the idea of the cards, or of koans in general. It's like you really never know what's going to be that for anyone. No one knows that. Buddha doesn't know that. Avalokitesvara doesn't know what the turning word is going to be for you. And you don't either, but you're the catalyst. Like every individual is the catalyst for that. Be open to it, be receptive to this, and you never know. It could be on the next card you turn over. It could be on the next billboard you read. It could be the next thing someone says to you at work. You just don't know. It could be anything, you know.
That's the magic, you know. We seemingly can cultivate the soil, but we don't make anything grow.
Mhm.
And then it grows.
Mhm.
Who knows what's going to grow? Who knows when?
Yeah.
But that's part of the adventure too.
Oh, totally. The mystery is the gift of it all, you know.
If we weren't so outcome driven, and that's part of the gap pointing too, is if it wasn't about getting something or having something experienced, you will see it here.
Mhm.
It's the only place it exists. It's not over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want security and assurance in the way the mind seems to suggest. That's not what we really want, I don't think. I think what people really want is that mystery.
Well,
They
it's,
want to,
you know,
yeah.
comfort food, right?
Yeah.
You fill up your gut, you stretch all the stomach lining and everything in there, and it covers up any other sensation. Comfort is not what we want. Comfort is a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
We want to live,
Yeah.
whatever that is. We want to live all the fucking way. And this is your opportunity. Like right here, right now. Taste the rainbow, baby.
That's it. Yeah. Can you live without paradigms? Or can you see right now? These are just other questions that come up, but can you see right now what's available if you're not looking through any veils, any predispositions right now, any expectations? What does it look like when you just don't look through those? You don't have to even eliminate them. Just don't look through them for 1 second, tenth of a second. What do you
That's
see?
it. Oof. And if you can tell us, that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the thing is I don't need anyone to tell me. It's like sometimes I ask these questions and they're like trying to come up with, I'm like, no, I don't want an answer. I'll know when you got the answer. I'll see it.
Exactly.
It'll be obvious.
There is no answer. I mean, the question itself is the answer. That's the strangest part about it, is there's no conclusion.
Yeah.
Where are you going to land?
Mhm.
But it's the looking or the seeing or the playing or the curiosity, fascination, the wow all by itself. It's that simple. It's hand without needing to call it hand. It's already here. It's already done. There's no should. There's no if. It's here. Done. So obvious. And the mind goes, now let's make some connections. This is because, and you know what? This should, and this is a tool you could. It's like, wait. But what is it at its most fundamental? This is why I find people that have maybe Asperger's or have been diagnosed with autism have a little bit of a leg up because they see the world in a more literal way.
Yeah.
Less interpretation and assumption happens. And some of them I've met and worked with will say that they force themselves to create identity or create interpretations because that seems to be what was expected to have relationships with other human beings. And I said, I could see that. And here's the benefit. You already have so much of this built in. It's just obvious in your experience. So you can peel away those layers if you want. It's a sticker on the apple. Don't miss the apple for the sticker. No, the sticker says apple. Yeah, but take a bite of the apple, man.
I've been collecting apple stickers for so long. I know all about apples.
This one's Fuji. This one's Honeycrisp. Oh.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Is called creme de menthe.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, man. Well, all right.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah. For anyone watching, I'm going to put this form up and you guys can answer these questions. I think I'm going to just randomly pick 10 people who answer all the questions. You can answer creatively or whatever. There they are. One deck straight to your mailbox.
So yeah, we'll do an Angelo deck. You can pick kind of what you want on the cover, and I already have all the systems set up, so we'll just get those going too.
Sweet. Sounds fun. All right, my friend.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.